The question is Governor Newsom has committed to increasing California State University and University of California budgets 5% for 5 years. If elected, will you support this compact?
My response to that is no, I would not support the 5%. I think that is a low number. When you look at the amount of tax dollars that come from low and low income individuals, I entered UCLA with something called the High Potential Program, and that was a program that was acclimated towards inner city students who could not basically meet certain standards. We proved the system wrong in that regard, so therefore, no, I would not support 5%. I think it should be like 10 to 15%. I think it should be connected with inflation. Also, I think it should be connected with the economic status of a community.
The United States of America paid $20,000 to Japanese Americans who were forcibly put into internment camps during World War II. Germany paid over $86 billion to Jews and their heirs for the Holocaust. Our very own Senator Bradford, along with others, led the Reparations Task Force and its efforts for California to institute reparations to the descendants of blacks who suffered through slavery and for its lingering social, political, and economic hardships. Have you read the California Reparations Report? And what are your thoughts on reparations?
I'm looking at the definition of reparations. It says the making of amends for a wrong done by one by paying money to or otherwise helping those who have been wronged. I was fortunate to go to Wall Street. And the issue is, how do you pay for it? Now, there was an organization called the Black Panther Party. They had 3 components to their program: food, clothing, and shelter. The only problem is there was no provision for it to be paid. I'm proposing a $2 billion fund that would be financed through a private, public type of a vehicle. And what we do, we hit those who basically benefit from slavery. All the corporations have benefited from slavery, so we hit them and ask them to invest in the $2 billion fund and utilize that money for the returns to the community.
We have a question that brings everything back home. So, here it is. I've lived in Hawthorne for 30 years. My parents are small business owners, yet we never hear from our local or state elected officials. What does meaningful and comprehensive constituent outreach and engagement look like in Senate District 35?
The 35th consists of 14 cities. Each of them have a different personality, different needs. One shoe does not fit all feet. San Pedro is different from Hawthorne. Hawthorne is different from Watts. Watts is different from Wilmington. They're all different, which means that you have to have a structure that allows for input from 14 different cities. I would have a management structure where each particular city would sit on a council in order to share their experiences, their challenges, and at the same time, too, when it comes to small businesses, take them through the basic steps. When you go to a bank, the bank's got to ask for 3 things: financials, do you have the professional capability to make it happen, and thirdly, what is your pro forma? Therefore, what I'm saying is 14 different cities with 14 different needs.
If elected, are you committed to sponsoring legislation that will restore control of schools back to the school board? Second part, what specific policies do you propose to improve education and ensure that all students have access to a high-quality learning environment?
There is a 800-pound gorilla in the room. That's charter schools. Charter schools are challenging the authority and the power of local schools. So the question becomes, how do you basically bring balance back into the community? First issue is charter schools. They are undermining local schools. Now, on the other hand, it blows on the money. Now, on the money side, you have a situation in which you have kids who go to school with no shoes and no clothes. They're hungry. The problem goes to the home, and that has to do the families have a means of making money? So therefore, in terms of local control, I say that, again, the issue that has to be addressed is how do you basically corral charter schools?
Being a resident and employee of the 35th District, I have been working with the homeless for 18 years. There has been over $20 billion to assist the unhoused, and they are still on the street. What will you do differently to combat homelessness?
The homeless problem is a triage problem. First of all, you have to do an assessment in terms of what caused that person to become homeless. Is it because of economics? Is it because of mental health? Or is it because of addiction? Or is it because of a circumstance you just can't control? In the military, you have three categories: those who you put back on the field, those who are basically you treat, and those you just can't help. The reality is there's a certain percentage of homeless you can't help. That's just a reality. On the reversal side, when it comes to housing the homeless, again, it boils down to the way state law controls zoning and density. If you were to look at zoning, you have zoning issues that basically protect commercial property. I say you open up the doors and you allow those commercial properties to be utilized for housing itself.
Thank you very much. And this brings us to the final question for our candidates. Having already expanded Medi-Cal coverage for youth and residents 50 and older starting this year, the state of California will now include residents ages 26 to 49, regardless of immigration status. What more do you think needs to be done in healthcare coverage and costs?
The problem in the system is the quality of care. If you have been in that system, you will know that if you were to go to a specialist, you may have to wait 2 to 3 months before you see that person. So therefore, it becomes more of an accountability issue more than anything else. In regards to the solution, at the end of the day, it's about the quality of the doctors. We need to expand the process to have more doctors in the system. And secondly, there needs to be a close look at the quality of care within the system presently, because even if you have universal care for all, the question is, what is the quality?
Thank you very much. And Mr. Lyons, your final statement.
I guess I'm supposed to stand up since everybody stood up, so I'll stand up. Lamar Lyons equals return on investment. Lamar Lyons refers to where you can get a job. Keep in mind, you have a speed train that's being built in California. $128 billion, 155,000 jobs. How many of them have come to this district? I'm about bringing that type of action into the 35th. What district has SpaceX? The 35th. What district has Long Beach? Port of LA. These are return on investments. I'm the person to think of when you talk about money and return, Lamar Lyons.